Now we have everybody on. So if you are seeing this on Instagram, hello. She says, I can't hear you. I'll try to log back in. Delano, can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you drop the number 1 in the comments if you can hear me? Um, Everybody should be able to hear me, especially because I'm coming from few different platforms. So if you're on Instagram, welcome. And if you're on LinkedIn or if you're on Facebook as well as YouTube, welcome. Thank you for joining. And really, I don't have a lot of scripted stuff for you today. I just really want to talk about, I've been talking with a few ladies over the past week, and Delano, if you can hear me, let me know. Those of you on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, if you can hear me, let me know, right? So I'm Twanna Carter, Dr. Twanna Carter, and I am a career transition coach for high-achieving women who are, I help women overcome that fear and anxiety that can sometimes come when we're transitioning into a new career. And I empower women to recognize and communicate their unique value. And I also instill a deep sense of belief in their own strengths and abilities so that they can courageously and confidently create success on their own terms and pursue a path of purpose that's meaningful to them. So that is what I do. In the past couple of weeks, I've spoken to many ladies, right, about doing career transitions. And so I wanted to talk about some things not to do when you're trying to do a career transition, right? Some things not to do. And so that's pretty much what this is today. What don't you want to do when it comes to a career transition? My number 1 tip is please don't quit your job today or tomorrow or like the day after tomorrow. No. You should not quit your job without a plan. You don't have to quit your job. And sometimes when I talk to people, they're really nervous about doing a career transition because they think, well, I got to quit my job tomorrow. And then, no. We look and do everything we need to do to line up a career transition. Then we make that leap. My last career transition was a 2.5 long trek. I planned, I laid everything out. I got things taken care of. And then after 2.5 years, I transitioned, right? The longest one I've had was almost 3 years. And that's because I got a master's degree. Then I found the job and then I transitioned. So you don't have to quit your job now. So that's the first thing not to do, right? You don't want to quit your job without a plan. But number 2, you want a plan, right? It's very important for you to have a career action plan. And this is where you're going to look at your skill sets. You're going to compare your skill sets to the new career or the new job that you want. Figure out if you have any gaps. Sometimes you don't have any gaps. I've done career transitions where I didn't have to prepare for anything because I had every single skill. I had all the skill sets. I already had those. It was just a matter of me tweaking that resume, twerking the resume. That probably wouldn't work with it. So it was about tweaking the resume to fit the new position. It was also, let me see if I have any comments, because you guys and ladies, you can ask questions, right? I just want to be sure that I get that screen seen so I can actually see if you have questions or comments, right? So you want to have a career action plan because your career action plan is like a guide, right? It's just like if you were going to a new city, let's say you went to Paris, you want to see all the sites. You will lay out, what do I do first? What do I do next? What I want to see here? Where is it? And all that kind of stuff. A career action plan does the same thing. You lay out the plan before you go do it, right? So you lay out what you're going to do and you execute it, because career transition is a process, and it doesn't start with quitting your job. Now, I will caveat you this. If the job is dangerous to your health, to your physical health, to your mental health, sometimes you may, for your health's sake, need to quit that job, right? And it's easier to do, right, if you already have savings set aside so that you can, quit your job, take the next several months to find the next, because some people can do that. If not, If we're talking about your health state, your mental health, and your physical health, then you may need what's called a bridge job. That's a job that it's a bridge between where you are now and where you want to go. And hopefully it is a job where you do something where you're gaining skills. So it's like on the way to the next job. But other than health, for health's sake, you shouldn't be quitting your job before you do a career transition. You do want to definitely do that career action plan, right? Also, the mindset piece of this, make sure you're not talking yourself out of the job instead of talking yourself into the job. What do I mean by that? Well, nobody's going to hire me at this age, or I've been here 10 years. No one's going to hire me. I've been here 20 years. People are not looking for someone with my skill sets. I have way too much that I don't know how to do versus what I know how to do. That's talking yourself out of a job before you talk yourself into the job. You'd be surprised what skill sets you have. If you've been in a place 10 to 15 years, what I find when I coach my ladies is they have way more skills that they've taken for granted. Or if they've moved up in that company, they discard all the other skills that they learned on the way to the current position. So you probably have way more skills, transferable skills than you think. But that's part of the thing that you do in a career transition, a career action plan, is you look at your gaps, because sometimes you do have gaps. You heard me say that I transitioned after about 3 years after I got a master's degree. There was a big gap, big gap from me becoming a health inspector to a counselor, big gap. And I took almost 3 years to fill in that gap by getting a master's degree. So it's very important that you do the assessment of where your skills are and what you have. And that way you can determine, okay, here's a gap. I have this gap and I have that gap. And I've done that. I've walked into a job and say, hey, I'm here to do this, but I know my gaps are this, and this. And I used that job. I got the job and I used that job to fill in my gaps. Sometimes if you really know how to sell yourself, you can do that, because I've had several jobs. I've definitely transitioned to several jobs where I was lacking a couple of skills, but I had like 95%, and I still got the job. You can do that as long as you know how to write that up, write your resume up, and have your interview stories to fit that new job. So it is definitely possible. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is, and this is really why I came on today, this is an employee's market. This is an employee's job market. Do not let this job market pass you by. Employers are offering, depending on where you're going and what career position you're in, career field you're in, employers are offering bonuses. I was talking to several people recently. I was like, if you have a master's degree in HR, you're an HR person, look, it does not hurt you to window shop, which is my other tip. You can window shop. You don't have to leave a job now. Window shop, because there's a huge need for HR specialists, people with HR backgrounds right now. It's an employee's market. Don't let it pass you by because you're talking yourself, well, I've been here 15 years. I know nobody's going to hire me. I'm 42 years old. They're not going to hire me versus some young person. You don't know until you try, right? Do try. This is an employee's market. Be about your business. Window shopping. And that's my next tip. You can window shop. Go out and see what's there. Not apply for it. And that's my other tip. Don't apply for everything moving on a job market. Don't do that. Because number one, you're only applying for about 20% of the jobs. And everybody else is vying for those 20% of jobs. But number two, when you don't get hired, you get frustrated. You get demoralized. You're like, see, I knew nobody was going to hire me. Well, probably it's because you're not applying for the right stuff. Okay. And my next tip, network. You have to network. That's why you don't apply for everything moving on a job board. You need to network so that when you do apply for a job, you're applying for it with a warm lead. Okay. If you don't believe it works, I have a client who recently landed her dream job. And she kind of thought, I'm this age and it's hard to compete. She had the skill sets and she also had the degree, but she was a little bit worried about the age thing. And I was like, you have experience. Don't worry about it. She followed my, when I coach my clients, I say network. She re-engaged with her network. She expanded on what she already had. And If you're not on LinkedIn, what are you waiting for? Right? Because what she said was that if it hadn't been for me coaching her how to use LinkedIn and re-engaging with her network, she would have never landed her dream job and gotten an $81,000 raise. Right? Right now, pandemic, $81,000 raise, landed her dream job. It's an employee's market, right? And again, it doesn't hurt to window shop. What do I mean by that? Some people kind of get caught up, well, I got to pay the mortgage and I got to do this. And again, that's why I start off with, you don't career transition by quitting your job up front. Again, the only caveat is health reasons, right? But it is important to re-engage that networking. When you window shop, you go out there and say, okay, I think I want to transition to this field. These are the jobs that are available. And I think I like that. You do all the work, do all your assessments and all that. Yep, I have some skills, but I have a few gaps there I need to fill. Then you switch over to your network and say, hey, I'm now looking for this. You got to make sure your network knows what you're looking for, right? The best place in the world, one of the best places in the world to do that is on LinkedIn. Right? Because that little first degree, second degree, third degree, if you want to go to company X, but you don't know anybody there, and you look through company X and say, oh my gosh, the HR manager is friends with and I'm on that's the first degree there. Ask for an introduction. Ask for an introduction from your person in your network to the new person. You'll be amazed how well that works. How well? Again, my client got an $81,000 raise because she reached out and she re-engaged with her network. Okay, so I know I said this is going to be about things you don't want to do, but I also gave you some things that you do want to do. So number one, you don't want to quit your job without having a plan already land up and already starting a process to get the new job. You don't want to talk yourself out of a job. You want to talk yourself into the job. Right? And this is an employee's market. So you do want to, at the very least, window shop to see what's available in the career field you like to go to. Look at your skills and see how they match up. Whenever you decide, whether you're deciding a career transition 5 months from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, start now re-engaging with your network and building and expanding that network, because it is more than likely you're going to get that new job through your network. By networking, right? And so the last don't go through this alone. Do hire a career coach. It is what we do, is what we know how to do, especially if you're in that group. I don't have this and nobody's going to hire me because I've been here too long and I've only done one job in my whole life. And if that's your mindset, do hire a professional, because it's what we do. We can look in and look at your skills and retool a resume and redo the interviewing skills and definitely show you how to network if you're a little afraid of it. If you should already have your LinkedIn profile together, but it's okay if you don't, because I actually coach my client to do the same thing. You gotta do that LinkedIn profile, get that thing ready, pull it back up and say what it needs to say and write out everything there that you need, because I'm an entrepreneur now. I resigned from a 6-figure job in February and became a full-time entrepreneur. And typically in a given month, I have no less than about 10 or 15 job offers that find me on LinkedIn and say, hey, your skills fit this. You should look at this job. So another reason why really your LinkedIn profile should be on point. But if you've heard all of this and you're like, that's still a lot, and it's just a little bit overwhelming, and I know I have anxiety, or I know I'm an introvert and finding new jobs is really hard for me, got you covered. DM me #new job, right? I'll set up an appointment with you. We'll do a no-cost strategy session, show you step by step the direction you should be going, and then you can go in that direction, right? So those were my tips today, and I really gave you some stuff not to do for a career transition, but I also told you what you should do, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is an employee's market. We haven't had one of these for a minute. You don't want to waste this being afraid to take a chance, being afraid to take a risk. And by the way, if you're just thinking about a new career, or if you're thinking about a new job, you have already started the career transition process. It's that easy. It doesn't have to be difficult. When you start to think about something else, you're already in career transition. That's it. It's just that easy. right? This has been Twanna. So, Ty, hey, Sty, how are you doing? Dr. Ty, this is good to see you, lady. And Jasmine Petaway says that I agree. And Ty Stone says, I'm not versed in LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I think a lot of us got on LinkedIn like when it first started out in the early mid 2000s, but it has really come a long way since then. And I can't tell you the people who get jobs from networking on LinkedIn. And I personally, I have a subscription to LinkedIn. You don't have to do that, right? You do not have to do that. Let me say that I do, but you don't have to. And when I work with my clients, of course, I show them how to do it until they use mine. But you can actually, it's amazing the things you can do. Let's say that you want to work at a certain hospital. So you go and look up that hospital on LinkedIn, and then you start looking at everybody who works there. LinkedIn will tell you, someone, your first degree, contact knows someone here. They're fifth to you, but they're second or first to this person. And so all you have to do, I mean, LinkedIn gives that to you. Really, it says when you go in, I went into a particular company when I was coaching my client. And I said, see, these people here all graduated from my school. I got my PhD through Capella. And there were 126 people at this particular company that graduated from Capella. You think I might be able to meet some people in that new company to introduce me to HR? Possibly, right? And it's there. It is already there. That's what LinkedIn does for you. So when you go to whatever job, you'll be amazed sometimes at the people you may find classmates, you may find people you lived in a neighborhood with, or someone who knows a sibling, your sibling, or you used to work with. You will be surprised at the contacts. They talked about Kevin Bacon and 6 degrees of separation. LinkedIn does that for you. It tells you first degree, second degree, third degree, fourth degree. It tells you that, right? And so if someone who's a first degree for you, and they know someone at the company, well, you just re-engage your network. That's why networking is so powerful. And for people like me, I have social anxiety and I'm an introvert. So, I may come on here and I chit chat with people and they do not think I'm an introvert or I have social anxiety, but I do. And there are days that, there are many days I don't like in-person networking. That many people, that much energy, I'm just like, oh, I've done it. I've put on my game face and I've done it, but it's not my favorite thing to do. LinkedIn does offer you, if you have social anxiety, if you have high functioning anxiety, or if you're an introvert, LinkedIn offers you a way to network without having to meet face to face, because sometimes the energy in a room with 1,000 people, 500 people is overwhelming to some of us who are introvert. It is just very overwhelming. Like I said, I put on my game face. I've done it because it's been part of my job, some different jobs I've had, but I go to that car and I sit there and I just sit for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes to try to get back to me after all of the energy. I know it can be hard, but LinkedIn offers you a way to do virtual networking that isn't really that hard, right? So definitely, but it's, with my coaching, I help you do that, right? I help you, we go to LinkedIn and you pull up your account and then we go down and we update it. I help you update. I give you pointers. I give you suggestions, say this, not that, say it this way, not that way. I do the same thing for resumes, review that resume, make sure that resume is tight. I also do that for interview stories. If you don't have a story, several, not a story, you should have several stories already laid out, practice, understood. You know what you're going to say, so that when you're in an interview, you get a question, you pull those stories and you answer those questions with your story, right? We love stories. Look at Instagram, right? Instagram story. It's a story, correct? We as human beings, we love stories. So when you interview with the story. You really engage the interviewers and people can get really hooked into your story. I can't tell you the number of interviews that I've been on, and I'm a military brat, and I joined as well. And it's really nice to go into an interview and there's someone else that was stationed at the same place. And it's like instant connection. How did I know that? Because I use interview stories. And if it's going to touch someone that you're interviewing, you're going to do that by stories, right? So that's how you do it. So, I do appreciate you ladies for dropping by. Any other questions? I am looking at Instagram and Instagram and LinkedIn. Let me see if there are any questions on Facebook, because that's the one that I don't have the screen up. I have a lot of tabs open. I'm the person who will have 61, 2, 3 tabs open. That would be me. All right, and I want to check one more space before I go to be sure that I have actually entertained all questions. I think that I have. Okay, so thanks much for watching. And again, just DM me, right? New job, and let's just set up a no-cost strategy session if this is kind of a lot for you and you still need some help with it. All right, this has been Twanna Carter. Take care. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.